So as I mentioned in our session today, your assignment this week is to create a design for a new beverage. It could be a soda, it could be a juice, it could be a power drink, any kind of beverage that you want, but it needs to come in a bottle, a plastic bottle, and you need to design the graphics for what that packaging looks like. So you'll design the shape of the bottle, the color of the bottle cap, the printed label that goes around the bottle, and I'm going to show you how I would approach this, how you should approach this. I don't want you to do the same design as I do, but I want you to use what I'm about to show you as a guide for creating your own idea for a beverage. Like I said, it could be a soda, it could be a juice, it could be a Powerade, power drink, whatever you want to use is fine. It could be a flavored water, it could be whatever. But what I'm going to show you will show you how I want you to approach this assignment. So first thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and create my document. So I'll go over to paper size, and I'm going to select US letter portrait, and that gives me my document right here. Now the first thing you want to do is you want to create the shape of your bottle. So I'm going to take, remember you can't use something like a Coke bottle because the Coke shape is actually copyrighted and trademarked by Coke. So you can't use the Coke bottle, but you can use really any other shaped bottle. I'm going to use a pretty simple one where I'm going to go and take a rectangle, and I'm going to create a rectangle, say about that big. All right. First thing I want to do is I want to make my corners rounded. So I'll go over here to this window, and I'm going to round the corners. And I'm going to bring this slide rule over to about 100. That's pretty good. And the next thing I want to do is I want to center this piece of artwork, this path that I've created, this object that I've created in the document. So I'll go up here to my center document. I'm not going to center it from top to bottom yet. So now I've got the outer shape of my bottle. And as you can see, it's got this gray tint to it. So if I go over to fills, you know that this gray is kind of selected. So I'm going to keep that for now. I may end up changing it later, but I think I'll keep it for now. So next thing I want to do is I want to create the neck and then the cap. So again, I'll take my text tool, create a rectangle, and I'm going to go in and just create a bottle cap, say about, it's probably too much, say about this size. Now again, it's still giving me the same color fill, which is fine. So now I'm going to go over here and center it to make sure it's centered on top of the bottle. And then one more thing I'm going to do is going to take the rectangle tool, and I'm going to create, slightly overlap it, I'm going to create another rectangle about there, and again I'm going to center that. Okay, so all my objects are centered. I've got the shape of the bottle itself, I've got the neck, and then I've got the cap right here. So I think I'm going to create a fruit flavored soda. So the first thing I want to do is I want to figure out what kind of fruit I'm going to use. So I think for this one I'm going to go with a cherry. So I can go and find a picture of a cherry and outline it, but for expediency's sake, to kind of move this video along, I'm going to use some of the artwork that actually exists in Gravit. So I'm going to go over to libraries, and then I'm going to type in, let's go with the cherry. So I'll type in cherry, and then it's going to pull up all the images that relate to cherry. All right. So I think, let me see, I'm going to go with this one here, right here. So as soon as I click this, it shows up here. Now I can enlarge it. Again, hold the shift key down to keep it proportionate. All right, or I can decrease the size. I'm going to just move this off to the size right now, but the reason why I chose this already is because I want to use some of the colors in this graphic. So the first thing I want to do is to fill our bottle with the soda. So I'm going to go ahead and create a rectangle, and I'm going to start from about, I gotta click it. I gotta start from about here, I think, and then I'm going to just go outside the bottle because I want to fill most of the bottle with this soda, with this juice. So maybe I'll come down a little bit to about here. Maybe we'll fill it up just above the neck. So now I want to use this color. So I'm going to go and take the eyedropper and hover over the color I want to use. Just click on it. So now it makes this object the color. Now I want to select both of these. I want to select the red rectangle and the bottle. So I'm just going to scroll over both of them and go up here and click clip. Okay. So now it made the juice, or the color red, it looked like the bottle is full of the juice. Now I'm going to move this to the back, modify, arrange, send it back. Okay, so I've got most of my bottle filled with this red color that I want to use for my drink. Next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and click on the bottle cap. I think I want the bottle cap to be the same color as the color that's in the cherry. Now this time I think I'm going to use the dark red. So I'm going to again take my fill icon and go over to the dark red now and fill that in. So now I've got my bottle cap, which is filled with dark red. I've got my juice bottle, which is filled with red. So now the next thing I want to do is go ahead and create my label for the soda. So I'm going to take another rectangle and I'm going to start from about here and come down to about, say, here. So I think I want to use as a background, I want to use this color here. So I'll take the eyedropper, click on this red, and then I wonder if I want to go a little bit darker. No, I think, yeah, maybe a little bit darker. So let's go in here, and then let's go to the color picker, and we'll just go down and come down and make this a dark red. Maybe you go a little bit darker too. Okay. So it's my label. I want to make sure that the sides of this line up with the bottle itself. Okay, I'm going to zoom in here to make sure because I can see a little bit of the bright red overlapping. So come in and done. Okay, while I have this zoomed in, I'm going to take this cherry artwork here and I want to move it to the front because it's behind all the other objects that I've drawn after that. So I'm going to modify, arrange, bring it front, and then I'm going to bring the size down a little bit by holding the shift key, and I think I want to rotate it a little bit, maybe here, and then put this, say, about here. Now before, I'm going to basically clip this into the label, the background of the label. But before I do that, I want to copy this because I'm going to use two pieces of artwork. So I'm going to go to Edit, Duplicate, and then just move that off the side for a second. And then I'll select my cherry artwork and hold the shift key down and select my background and then go back up here to clip. So now the artwork appears inside the label. Now I want to go ahead and use this, but I want to flip it so that it's a mirror image. So I'll go right up here to this icon right here where it says flip horizontally. Now flip it horizontally, and then I want to reduce the size a little bit, and then maybe a little bit more, and then I'm going to move this artwork of the cherries down in here to kind of balance out my label. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'll select the artwork and the label and the artwork for the rectangle, dark red rectangle, and go to clip and clip. So now I've got my artwork inside the label. Okay. Now, next thing I want to do is I want to put in the name of my soda. So it's going to be a fruit flavored soda. So I'm going to take my text and I'm going to click. What shall we call it? I know. Let's call it Fruit Loops. Fantastic. So now, I'm not crazy about this font. So I'm going to go and choose another font to use. So let's go over to the font. Let's go to Open Sans. Let's see what we have that we can use that might be more interesting than what we have there. Something fun. Something, let's see. No, let's go and look for. Now, there aren't a whole lot of fonts to choose from here. So, whatever the feel you want your beverage to have, you're going to kind of have to choose from this here. I don't see a whole lot here. Let's see. Let's start back up here, go down. And thought I saw one earlier that looked interesting. Let's go with oh, okay, I forgot to select my text. So Command A to select the text. And then let's go back. Let's go with a Slacky book. Yeah, I like that. That's neat. Okay, so we're going to take this text block. Now, I want to play a little bit around with the font. I don't want it just to kind of be Fruit Loops all going across, because I'm working with a vertical design. So if I put the text all in on one line, it's going to be kind of small. So I'm going to put it on 2 lines. So let's see. First thing I want to do is I'm going to, first of all, duplicate this. So I have 2. And then I'll double click here and I get rid of the word oops. And then I come here and get rid of the word fruit. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and convert both of these text blocks to artwork so I can kind of manipulate them. So if I go up to here, convert to path, okay, that becomes artwork. And that becomes artwork, no longer text, now I can manipulate it. And I know that I want both of these. Well, let's go ahead and move them into place here. Let's move this here and hold the shift key down. I want to enlarge it a little bit. And then I'll take this one and maybe I want to put it right here and enlarge this so fruit lines up with loops, or maybe go a little bit larger, maybe about here so it lines up with the exclamation point. Okay, make this a little bit bigger. Now, black against the dark red is not going to look good, so I'm going to go and change this text to white. Click here, select white. All right, good. Lots of contrast. All right, and I think I can go a little bit bigger with both of these. So I'm going to select them both, enlarge. Okay, good. And then just kind of move them so that they're centered. Okay, good. So I've got the title of my drink. There's still some more text that I do need to put in here. So I need to put that it's a flavored soda. So I'll take my text block and click right here and type in, I think in all caps, cherry flavored soda. Again, I want the text to be white. So I will go ahead and go to my fill and make the text white. And then I also need to change the font. I want something a little bit more narrow. So let's go with, let's see. So I want a sans serif font. So let's go with something kind of simple, because the font I'm using for the name of the soda is so kind of fancy and really kind of stands out. So I want to use something simple for the rest of the font. So let me see. I think I'm going to go. Let's go with Able for now. Okay, that'll do. And I want to make, is there bold? No. And I want to make the text a little bit smaller. So this is 20 points. Let's make it, let's try 12. How'd that look? Okay, that doesn't look bad. So I'm going to zoom in here. And I want to fit it right in here. Okay. Again, this is the way I'm designing my label. You can design your label any way you want. I'm just doing what makes sense for me and my design. Now, there is a couple more bits of text that we need to put in here as well. If you take a look at most beverage bottles, you're going to see that they have things like the weight of the bottle and whether or not there's preservatives. So I'm going to go ahead and take this text and I'm going to duplicate it. And then I'm going to move this down here. Double click inside, select the text. Now, generally speaking, most bottled beverages have a weight of about 16.9 fluid ounces. Okay, so I'll take this, move this over. I'm using the arrow keys to nudge it into place. And then on the right side, I'm going to duplicate this again. And then on the right side, I'm going to double click inside, Command A to select, and put no preservatives. And move that over just to have a little bit more text in here. Okay. So I've got my bottle filled with the fluid, the soda that I want to use, and I've got my label. I've got my logo for my beverage. I've got my text at the bottom, says cherry flavored soda. I've got the weight of the bottle, the 16.9 fluid ounces, and I have no preservatives. In part 2 of this video, I'm going to show you to add a few more special effects in your bottle to make it just look a little bit more detailed, a little bit more real.